Hi, my name's Johnny, and welcome to Pop History, where I talk about history references within pop culture. No, it's not that creative. The show I want to talk about today is one that's very near and dear to my childhood heart. It's actually the first show I can think of that I look forward to watching every week. Of course, I'm talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, a show that was much, much better than the network it was on. The particular episode I want to talk about is one of the deeper ones.
Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like...
Not that one. The episode in question is Season 3, Episode 16, The Southern Raiders, where Katara finally gets to meet the person who killed her mother. The episode goes something like this. After having a lot of trepidations about having Zuko in the gang and Katara lashing out at him a few too many times, Zuko goes to Sokka to see if there's anything he can do, and before you know it, him and Katara are off to go find the Southern Raiders, the Fire Nation unit that raided the Southern Water Tribe the day that Katara's mother was killed. After getting the unit's location from a Fire Nation intelligence post, they head for the ship that the Southern Raiders are on. Upon arriving, though, they find that the person that killed Katara's mother is not there, and after some, enhanced interrogation, they find out that it's a man named Yan Ra, who has since retired and lives in the Fire Nation, and they are instantly off to go see him. Now, throughout the episode, through various flashbacks, Yan Ra is built up as this very evil, conniving character. Someone who killed out of sadistic pleasure because he wanted to do it. So it's kind of a surprise to the viewer when they first see him that he's an old man still living with his mother, who's constantly getting yelled at when he just wants to tend to his garden. It doesn't fit whatsoever with the image of him you're presented throughout the episode of this big, conniving, evil guy. He's just some normal old man. And upon confrontation, after tracking him for a little bit, Katara is overwhelmed by this sentiment too, saying that he's just pathetic, and there's nothing to him. Sparing his life even because she just can't kill him, because it's just some pathetic creature lying on the ground.
Oh my dude, you just got pranked!
Now, although this three-dimensional look at an enemy character is sort of unique in media, it actually has a name. This is often referred to as the banality of evil, a phrase coined by the author Hannah Arendt in 1961 at the trial of Adolf Eichmann. Arendt, or Arendt, if you're wrong, was a German-born Jew that actually escaped the Nazis early in the war. In the early 60s, when Eichmann was found, she went to the New York Times and asked to be the reporter for them at the trial in Jerusalem. Adolf Eichmann during the war was an SS Obersturmbannführer, probably butchered that, who was in charge of deportations for the Third Reich of enemies of the state, large quotation marks used there, and was indirectly responsible for the deaths of millions. He even just looks like the poster child of Nazism. Seriously, if you Google evil Nazi, he's the second result. Upon arriving at the trial, Arendt and everybody in attendance expected to see this big boogeyman, this gigantic evil figure of mass murder and genocide, a very cold and calculated person who would defend his actions as right and just. The only problem was the man himself didn't live up to this. Eichmann, almost 60 at the time, was just a shriveled old man who after the war had had a long list of failed job attempts and no real success in anything. On top of that, he mostly spoke in 1940s cliches when defending himself. He didn't come across as particularly intelligent, charismatic, or particularly anything. He was just a boring, average guy. He very much tried to perpetuate the idea that he was just following orders and not doing anything in particular, saying, "May I therefore ask that consideration be given to the fact that I obeyed, and not who I obeyed." Yeah, good one there, buddy. And it was at this point she realized that being evil doesn't take anything special. It doesn't require any sort of special trait, it doesn't require any sort of tragic backstory, it doesn't require anything except for somebody to just not think. Saying the longer one listened to him, the more obvious it became that his inability to speak was closely connected with an inability to think, namely to think from the standpoint of somebody else. No communication was possible with him, not because he lied, but because he was surrounded by the most reliable of all safeguards against the words and presence of others, and hence against reality itself. As human beings, we have a great need to separate ourselves from those we deem evil. We need to put them in a different category as something other than us, somebody mentally unstable or not right in the head. We don't want to admit to ourselves that we may be capable of the exact same evil as the people we put on pedestals. And sure, there are great exceptions. Not everybody could be an Adolf Hitler or a Joseph Stalin. But their underlings, the Eichmanns of the world, and the people who actually put the madman's ideas into practice, are made up of people that aren't anything special. They're just somebody who found themselves in an organization, willing to follow orders, and doing what they were told to the nth degree. But when caught and asked to defend their actions, they're at somewhat of a loss for words. And it's just those exact things that they cite. I had a job to do. It was the times. They were the enemy then. And it doesn't seem to them to be anything particularly spectacular or particularly crazy or evil. It's just what they were doing. And that brings us back to the episode. Jan Ra isn't anything impressive. He's just a soldier in an army that was given an order, and he carried it out, to the nth degree. Not because he had any particular feeling in the matter, but because he was a soldier in an army, and he was told what to do, so he did it. I really want to congratulate the Avatar team and the writer Elizabeth Ahash, however you say that, good job. This is a topic that most adult media won't even touch, and the fact that a show marketed to kids went and did a full episode on such a deep topic is very impressive, and I commend them greatly for it.